Welcome to the Big Head Light Skin Comedian Podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Got a great show for y'all. First and foremost, let me say happy holidays, y'all. I figured I would, on this podcast tonight, get in the spirit a little bit. Got my Santa hat on, so and I really got a great guest for y'all tonight. But before I get into all that, let me say a couple things here. I need to go over a couple sponsors too, more than first and foremost, and I'll get into some other things. Tonight's show is sponsored by the Smile Center, 7405 LaGrange Road here in Louisville, Kentucky. Keep me tight. Also, it's sponsored by All Good Computers, right here on Preston Highway here in Louisville, Kentucky, to keep my computer tight so I can keep on. Y'all keep seeing a smiling face and keep hearing me talk to you all about all this good stuff. Also, my podcast is a diverse podcast. It's for the people, by the people, and the people. So with that said, like I said, there's no right or wrong opinions on my podcast and COVID-19 and social justice. We're just expressing ourselves and trying to educate people on things that we're doing here in 2021, especially with this being my last podcast for 2021. I want to really put a lot of good things out there. So with that said, let me talk about my guest tonight before I bring them in. I really got a great guest for you all tonight. They've been on my podcast before, but they were so outstanding, people asked for them back. So you know how it goes. If you go somewhere and get some good food, you're going back. Let me just give you a little bit of like I said, my guest tonight is Malera Green and W.L. Green III, her and her husband. But I just want to give you a little bit of information about her, and maybe before we get into this, before I bring her to the room. Her name is Malera Green. She serves as director of community-based program. She's a licensed clinical social worker and certified adolescent community reinforcement approach clinical. Malera received a Bachelor of Social Work from Norfolk State University and Masters of Social Work from the University of Southern California. In her spare time, Malera loves being one with nature and serves as an author, a Reikaler master, and a transformational speaker to help individuals grow from a caterpillar to a butterfly, which she is very good at talking about. Her heart is her husband, rainbow daughter, and miracle son. Malera is passionate about providing preventive services to lower the number of individuals in mental health facilities while providing trauma-informed care to help victims of trauma not only survive but thrive. Okay, without further ado, let me bring my guest in here. And if y'all got any questions, please comment. Say something, because you know it's about my podcast is about the comments and the questions. So without further ado, like I said, make sure you enjoy yourself on this podcast. And here we are, December 11th, 2021, which I give it up for my special guests, Malera Green and W.L. Green III.
Hello, everybody.
What's going on? I just gave him, how you doing? I just gave him a little bit of info about you, and I didn't get to do too much of the king. I'll let him do it himself. But as you can see, I'm in the Christmas spirit. As you can see, you know, my wife was saying I was being too much of a Grinch, so I decided to put this hat on. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you, King. So I said I'll do this for the people. Show them I got love. I got nothing but love for people. So I wish I could start a toy drive for all these kids out here waiting for these toys, but I can't afford all that yet. Nah. So, but I just told the people a little bit about you, Malera Green, and I didn't get too much on you, W.L. Green, but you can still go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, let them know a little bit about yourself. Tell them a little bit about yourself. So first and foremost.
All right. Well, first and foremost, greetings. It's good to see you, bro.
Man, it's good to see you in 2021.
Yes, yeah, man. Thank you. My name again, W.L. Green, Willie Green III. I currently am an educator in the state of Virginia. I teach middle school. So it's like war zone every day. Yeah, man.
Yeah. You need this. It's definitely a war zone. You're teaching middle schoolers. That's when they start getting real bad.
Outside of that, I guess entrepreneur-wise, I'm the owner of G Rolling Papers LLC, which is an unbleached hemp rolling paper business. We are starting to get back on track. I kind of did some FDA kind of guidelines and whatnot. Had to get that situated. Good. So making sure it's legit by the book.
I need some of that for my glaucoma over here, so can't see sometimes. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And I am a recording artist. I actually released my debut EP, Souls of Vern. My wife actually was the mastermind behind the name of it, and able to capture my grandfather and aunt that recently transitioned. So that CD kind of is my first time really speaking inwardly how I felt about their transitions. Also, things in personal life. I got some stuff uplifting women, got some financial education on it. I do quite a few different things. One thing I realize I'm best at though is being my wife's cheerleader.
I'm like that too. I'm my wife's cheerleader too, so I'm with you.
And prior to this, we were in the car, and I was like, "Babe, I know some people's stories can be different, but I, for one, can say I am so elated and ecstatic to see where she is, especially knowing what she started 8 years ago. People have no clue. People have no idea. So to hear you reading that intro, but then I could kind of have the flashbacks. I remember like going to Rose's, and she be going to trying the clothes on and whatnot, and just things would not fit the way they wanted to. So to be able to see her now flourishing and spreading her wings is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, like a flower, like a flower, just flowering, just maturing. I get it, King. I get it. That's beautiful. Yeah. Hey, Rand Haley. She said, "Hey, fam." I guess she's one of y'all.
Yeah.
She look like my light skinned cousin. I'm gonna go ahead and take. But, she said,
"Hi,
hey.
sis. How are you, girl?"
But yeah. Well, go ahead, Malera. You can go ahead if you want to elaborate some more. I already elaborated a whole lot here.
No problem. Well, my name is Malira. I am just God's creation, man, and he did a dope job. And I say that, and that sounds very cocky, but for those of you who know me, know it has taken a long time for me to appreciate the creation that he created me to be. I'm a licensed clinical social worker by trade, but I am just a lover of people. So anything when it comes to people being their best selves, that's how I show up. So a lot of my things that I talk about come from not just my knowledge as a social worker. I have the degrees to back it up, but it's the experience of my life that allows for me to show up for people. So right now I'm a director at the Up Center, which is dope. I'm doing community-based services. So anything that is keeping the kids that are at risk of being of out-of-home placement, helping them with their behaviors, and then any adults that have those intense, severe mental illnesses that I'm not trying to address their problem, but what I'm trying to do is help them navigate life with that thorn in their side. So I can't get rid of your schizophrenia, but I can show you how to still budget and buy food and eat well and take baths on a daily. Like I can do that. And then I do supervised visitation. We're trying to get in the school system in a local area as well, so that we can help navigate spaces post-COVID. Because these kids were left behind basically with COVID. So I'm literally in a space where I get to change a program that has basically gone upside down. We've been around for 20 years, but we're restarting post-COVID. So I do that career-wise. Business-wise, I have M Green Enterprises, LLC. I am a psychotherapist, a confidence coach, Reiki master, and author, and all things human being. People tell me all the time to niche down, but I'm saying if you are a person and got a heartbeat, Malira got something to give you. I'm just me, man. And I'm excited to be here. Like I think we got something good for you. This conversation is about to get real.
Yes, it is. And I love it. I love talking to you all because y'all just bring such a light of spirit that just enlightens me, and I think it enlightens the people. It's just a beautiful thing. So I love it. So with that said, I'm just glad to see y'all smiling faces there. I really am, because I just know in today's time you can't take a moment for granted. You really can't. It's like this person that put there. I seen a meme on social media that says the most underrated blessing is making it back home to your house. That's deep, ain't it? Ain't that deep? That's deep. But I was like, oh my God, it is so on point. Regardless where you've been, whether you've been in Europe, California, what you've been doing, to make it back home is the most underrated blessing. So people have to understand. That's why I say when I say I live in the moment, I live in the moment. And I'm about that because I don't know what the next moment is going to bring. So that's just me. That's why I always tell people before I get off stage, love yourself and live in the moment, because that's what life is about, So, because you might not have that next moment. So, okay, don't get me started. Don't get me started.
No, you look, we are literally to, I want to say 40. I said 44 because I just sent 44 somebody. But we're up to 9 deaths in 2021, and in 2020 we were at 7. So we have literally had great loss over the past 2 years. And we are definitely learning the beauty of life and just the transitions of life that come. It's easy to take things for granted.
Yeah,
But
sure
when
is.
you have your kids that actually know family members that are now deceased and they're asking questions or saying how they miss their aunt, their uncle, their grandmother,
Yes.
you do the best that you can to navigate spaces. So I definitely appreciate just a reminder that life is beautiful, and sometimes it's easy to take for granted because you think it's going to always be there, but it's not going to always be there.
No, it's not. It's always, and that's the first thing I really wanted to even elaborate on was family. I want to start off with that first. And the only reason why is because I know this time of year when you really think about family and you try to do from family even more. Not say you don't on a regular basis. I know everybody does most of the time, but it really makes me think about it more than anything because sometimes we get among ourselves doing so much that we forget, caught up in ourselves, that we do forget about family throughout the year. But I put a little extra love on it during this time of year. And family is important for us, keeping our structure and our mind right. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to touch bases on family more than anything. Y'all know how important family is. I ain't got to tell you. Y'all got all them beautiful kids. So you know what I'm saying? So you know exactly. Y'all can elaborate if you want to even more. So
I would start when you're dealing with family. One of the things that I've learned learning is family is only as powerful or as valuable as an individual allows them to be.
Right.
Yeah. Me and my father was having a conversation today, and I realized that I have had a horrible habit of not speaking out or calling out for help that's needed. Whereas my father was like, that's why I'm here. Like, I've gone through experience, and my desire is not for you to go through the same experiences. And then what I found to be ironic is the struggles that I have of being able to communicate, at least asking for help. I found out that my father had it, and then my grandfather was the exact same way.
Wow. Okay.
They would hold stuff in until they blew up.
Right.
And as of last year, I kind of had my first blow up moments for the first time ever. Like, I've never been an angry person.
Right.
And
Okay.
boom, like, here it is. And it's like, okay,
I get it.
What am I going to do? Right. And like, nothing happens on accident. Like, today's conversation is what we're talking about now. Like, when I tell you we've had this conversation, the stuff that comes from your family, like, you have no control over, but you do have, especially when you come of age, the ability to start reasoning and figuring out, okay, why am I like this? Why is this way? Is the rest of my family like this? And if they are, who has been able to overcome it? Or am I the first person to awaken to what I'm feeling, and I've got to be the one to overcome it, type thing. So all that.
Yeah, man. Like, so here's the thing. We put so much huge expectations on our family because we haven't learned to love ourselves first. So we expect for our families to cover the insecurities that we have. So recently I did the Why My Mom project that was through Cornea Futrell with my mother. We were the only mom and daughter pair that actually did it. And I realized for 28 years of my life, I was expecting my mother to show up in a way that she just did not have the capacity to do it. So what I will tell people is sometimes is us sitting back and asking, why don't we have a relationship with our family? Is it because they really are horrible people, or is it because they didn't meet an expectation that we created that they just don't have the capacity to give us? It's a dude named Wayne Dyer that says, if someone asks me for 12 oranges, I can't give you 12 oranges unless I go to the store and get it. So I can't expect from my family to give me unconditional love if nobody has showed them unconditional love. So right now, there's a lot of families that are breaking down. So, for example, for my family, my parents were together for almost 25 years, and they recently divorced about 2 years ago. And the family dynamic is different. So where for Christmas, we all normally get together. It's like, now, okay, do we go to your house or your house? Do we go, do this activity with you or do it with you? And we took for granted the moments where we were all together, and now that it's not quite the same, it can be a challenge. So what I would tell anybody in this holiday season, be intentional with who you spend your time with. It may not even be your blood family, but who would you like to create a memory with during this holiday? And if you don't even celebrate Christmas, it's not even about Christmas and Santa and all this other stuff. it's about the fact that we get days off and we get to spend it with the people that we care about.
That's
when
true.
we can
Right.
do that,
yeah,
it becomes a beautiful
Make
thing
use of it.
because people are leaving. Like I lost my great grandmother, and I literally this year was the first time in 28 years of my life where I had a relationship with her. And if I didn't take those 4 months while she was dealing with cancer, I would have missed it if I was upset about the other 27 years that she was gone and in Georgia. I would have missed the blessing of knowing her life and knowing how similar we are. They say I look just like her. Like I would have missed that if I took the anger of the years that was missed. So if you holding a grudge right now, when that person closed their eyes, it's going to be you that's going to be upset that you didn't do something to rekindle that relationship. So I would definitely encourage anyone, this is the time now to set your pride aside, suck the shit up.
Yeah,
and,
you say, go ahead and
literally
say it.
be there with your family because one day we're going to be gone and you don't want to look at your kids and tell them, well, you ain't got no family because I can't get over my own feelings.
Right. And to elaborate a little bit on that, because family is very, very deep. I tell people, I was talking to somebody the other day at work about, I said, man, you know, the one thing about family comes to family is DS. He said, what's DS, Lovis? I said, deep secrets. I said, and the reason why I said is because a lot of times family members don't want to talk about it. Then you wonder why this person's lashing out this way or that way. It's deep secrets and it's things that medical wise you didn't know you was like it, but it's the thing that comes from your culture. I'm hitting home, ain't I, King? I'm hitting home. I already know I am. It comes from your culture. So what they said, that's like, let me just use this example. As a black man in this country, let me just say this. If I needed help, mental help or whatever, just any type of help, it looks different because I'm a man asking. And a lot of times we taught as men, I was taught from my father. I'm telling you what I've taught family wise, to be strong, be tough. As far as first thing, you know, they tell you, which is great. But every now and then we may have a breakdown. We may need that love. We may need something to get us going because it may be something inside of us that we can't take no more with society. So with that said, it is hard. It is very hard for a man sometimes to ask for help. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, that's why I said, this is the time of year, especially if you need help or if you need to be around your family members, go do it. This is 2021. 2022 is not promised. You go do it. You know, even if you like the family member now, but just give that love because that's what it's about. There's a lot of things we don't know. It went on in our past histories with our family. And we found it out as we go along. And as we go along, we got to learn how to adapt and adjust to it to be a better man or be a better woman or whatever the case may be. So that's why I tell people, family has a lot of important trees to it, but you need to learn your heritage and your culture, what happened if you can. Because sometimes it's a deep secret. It's a deep secret. You're great. Either you could be your grandfather or grandmother. Sometimes they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to let you know. It's just the way it was. So, but family is very important. That's why I tell people. And the main thing, more than anything, you can give family, you can give anybody, especially time you're necessary for anybody, the gift of love. It don't take no but a second to give you the gift of love. Love is free. You just go hug somebody. And sometimes we can get away from hugging because it's cold. I get that, but it is family. So I tell people all the time. So, but I really want to touch on that family thing because it's really deep. So, really deep, man. I had to touch on that. Let me go into this other one here. Let me see here. Talk about this, and I kind of was talking about that already a little bit here. But
you mind if I start this?
Go ahead. Look, y'all, I've been begging my husband to use his voice, so
go ahead.
He on it today. Go ahead, baby.
All right. Yeah. So I saw mental health flash across the screen.
Yes, what I was getting ready to put up here. Okay, you good? Go ahead.
Tell them what I did for the very first time Thursday.
For the very first time, he went to therapy, y'all.
Oh, that's great. That's what's up. That's what's
31.
up. That's great. That's great.
And one thing I would say, it kind of ties back to when you mentioned family.
Mm-hmm.
One thing my therapist was communicating with me when it comes to parenting, myself, my wife can tell you that's been one of the hardest things we've had to go through together is parenting, and then the effects that it had mentally. Because if we're honest, it's been somewhat of a traumatizing situation, just figuring kids out. But one thing my therapist said, and I mentioned my daughter, but I could tell you she used to cry and cry. When I say she cried, one time she cried for like 6 straight hours that we had to take her to the hospital. And then the doctors was like, there's nothing wrong with it. She just felt like crying all day. But it got to a point where, and I wrote a song on it, there are times where I felt envious towards my own children based on the fact that they have a 2-parent household. and then you would expect a different type of interaction.
Okay.
And what my therapist was saying, because I grew up in a single parent household.
Okay.
He says, I'm comparing what I thought my childhood or what I wanted my childhood to be with my father. And I'm expecting that from my own kids, when the reality is my kids are not me. True, so a lot of the frustration that I've been feeling comes from an underlying resentment of, man, if my father was here, I feel like I would have like enjoyed it more, different things like that. Whereas like with my daughter's like, we don't know what she like she be trying to find stuff, and it's like, man, I don't know how to connect, you know, with my daughter, because the moment I put something on, I don't like this, and she'll get up and walk away. Like, but I say all of that, the mental health piece, I would have never thought, because like I said, then I went to ask my father, and he said, yeah, we went through the exact same thing. It's almost like what Malara's story is. Okay. Just a little bit later.
Right.
A little bit later.
Just a little bit later.
But yeah, mental health is important because there's parts of you don't realize you adapted rhythms to, you adapted type of patterns. You don't realize that those patterns were inaccurate.
Right.
Because you survive. Yeah. Especially those that raise themselves. Like people that raise themselves, 9 times out of 10, you don't realize what you went through was traumatic, because you did what you had to do to make it to the next day. But it's like, now that you no longer have to just survive, no, like now it's time to live. A lot of us don't know how to live. Like, we know how to struggle well.
Yep.
Like, many people have an excellent struggle story, but the moment, and that's why people consider like Kanye West and them so crazy, because it's like, if you had $1 million, what would you do? Like, how would you live your life?
That's a good point. Right.
And it's like, they look at him as crazy, but the reality is he's not looking at problems from a poverty mindset. It's like, okay, this is another type of issues that we're dealing with. So of course, broke people may not get Kanye West. Like, they may call him crazy, because again, we don't realize what it's like to have to handle problems with money. Whereas most people, their entire life is just grinding, go get money.
Yeah.
What do you do when you got it?
Yeah.
And that's mental health piece. It's like, a lot of people, they get to a point in life and it's like, what do I do? Like, I'm here now. What do I do? And that's kind of personally, just honestly, where we've been, where I've been. Like, we've hit a point and it's like, okay, where are we about to do next? Because we're no longer struggling.
Right. Yeah, great.
I remember when we first got together, he used to think my mental health stuff was mumbo jumbo, and that's not really what he said. But it was more of like, I never dealt with no depression or no anxiety. Like, what you talking about?
That's just us.
Yeah, you know, but the reality of it is, if you have a brain, you have a mental health. And what we end up doing is we separate it and we make it this external piece to us, but it's not, because essentially your reality has absolutely nothing to do with what you see. It has all to do with what you think. So if your thought life is crappy, then your life is going to be crappy. Like, we have met some happy homeless people, and we've met some miserable people who got money. You know, it's all about your mindset and your mental. And with this year, there are so many of us that has had a lot of grief, a lot of loss, and not even just physical death, but just shifts in relationships, shifts in jobs, shifting just how life happens. And then we're wondering why mentally we're messed up. So, for example, I like to tell people that grief work is not always just about someone dying. Grief work actually happens when there's a transition or a loss of something. Let's go back to parenting, right? Parenting is supposed to be a beautiful thing. I'm not gonna lie to you, I love my kids, but it's more hood than anything else. But what tends to happen is, even in parenthood, I found myself grieving, because I remember there were times where my husband and I could just pack up a bag and go somewhere. Or when I get home from work, I may not feel like staying in the house. I can go and run the streets and do what I need to do. I can't do that with my kids. I can go to a random concert. Now I got to find a babysitter. Now I'm impacting everybody else in their life. And then I'm wondering why I'm walking around with bargaining and anger and depression. And it's because I lost the freedom of what life was without my children. So people are struggling. And then another piece when it comes to mental health is we love to throw out terms like depression and anxiety. I'm here to tell you that it is not depression and anxiety if it happens after a trauma. Most of us is walking around with PTSD, but we think that only veterans have that. And that's not true. So then what ends up happening is you have a therapist or someone that's working with you. They're only working on the symptoms, but they're not working on the actual situation that triggered it, which now leaves you in mental health support even longer. So when you can really understand that when this trauma happened, it morphs up the other symptoms. The symptoms is not what is really the issue. It's the actual situation that happened. So if you have lost something, or if you had an expectation and somebody didn't reach that expectation, you now is grieving that. Or if you don't love yourself, y'all listen, some of y'all who know me, y'all knew me at 319. But most of y'all now that's in my circle, y'all only know 160-pound Malira. 160-pound Malira, if I'm having a bad mental day, I still see 319. So mentally, if that is what I'm thinking and that's what I'm seeing, that's how I'm going to function, I'm going to flow. So then what ends up happening is you begin to fill your life with other things that should not be there, because now you have voids that you're trying to figure out, or you struggle with suicidal thoughts because life is overwhelming. So when it comes to your mental health, you got to understand, if you got a brain, you got a mental health. And your life is all about your perspective. And if you can't figure it out on your own, please ask for help. Like I function in different capacities. I can be a therapist one moment, a coach the next moment, a ghetto ratchet best friend the next, whatever it is that you need, because mentally you just have to know that you deserve a better life. And when you know that, you will continue to look for the answers in the right places, but find that support that you need.
You're right on it. Y'all hitting on a lot of good points. A lot of golden nuggets there. I just want to say this first and foremost, more than anything. I remember my father, and I've never even told nobody this, so I'm going to put it out there because this is what it's about. It's letting the people know and feel comfortable about what they're doing, and you got to make decisions in life. So you be comfortable with it, because a lot of people are not comfortable making them type of decisions. Go see a therapist or marriage counselor, whatever the case may be. Well, my father, I never knew it until he told me. And it was near in his damn days that he did have a therapist. That he used to go talk to. So, and but I told him, I'm glad he told me. Because guess what? They helped out this king. So when I run into an issue, you see where I'm going with this? He told me. So if you're not told this, you don't know this. Like my father said, no one's half the battle. And he's right. And he told me, and I appreciate that to this day. And I love him for it. So I tell people all the time, like I was just telling y'all, a lot of things your parents or grandparents won't tell you, and you have to find out on your own. But when you do, if somebody tells you, you don't feel as bad going to talk to somebody about it. I can put this out there too. Me and my wife, we had marriage counseling, which I did not want to do. I'm going to say it again. My light-skinned ass did not want to do it. I didn't want to tell someone it's my problem, but I'm going to tell you this. We went about 2 or 3 times, and it was one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I could just tell you a couple of gold nuggets or so, but I'm going to leave it at that. But long story short, it did help, okay? Because I felt like, I ain't got to tell somebody, I don't need it, because that's just the way us kings think, So, but when I got, I was like, oh man, it's really ain't that bad, So a lot of times you have to be optimistic about the steps you take. A lot of times we're already thinking what's going to be done if we do this. No, open your mind, give it a shot, give it a chance. And I want to say this too, with Cove just hitting not too long ago, Cove hit in 2020. I think personally, before Cove 2020, what Cove did was expose. I don't want to say expose mental health. It just exposed people to mental health. People was already mentally going through some things, but Cove just kind of took it up over the edge just a little bit. Well, people was like, you know what? I am PTSD. You know what? I am this. I am that. And like you said, it ain't just veterans, because I'm a veteran, and I've talked to veterans. It ain't just veterans. It's people in general that's PTSD and don't even know it. Like you said, walking around don't even know it because they're ashamed of getting help. And someone they know something's the matter, but they just can't pinpoint it. That's when you go get help. So, but that's why I said Cove just kind of took it over the edge as far as everybody. But it also opened our eyes. It opened your eyes up to what is going on yourself, as well as what's going on around you, to make yourself better. Because you can only, if you make yourself better, then you're going to be good for people around you. But if you're not better, you're not going to be good for people around you. That's family or whoever's around you. I tell people all the time, you are who you are, but who you are comes out to other people, and you have to remember that when you're in life. So, but mental health is really, really big. And I really want to touch on that because I know people going through it, and I want people here at the end of 2021. If you need help, do not be ashamed to get help. Get help, and you'll be surprised how much it helps you. I want to be healthy physically and mentally versus being healthy just strictly physically. If the body's not balanced with the mind, it's over. The body's got to be balanced with the mind. If it ain't, it's over. Because if the body's and the mind's real low, you're not gonna feel like yourself. You're not gonna feel comfortable. So I tell people all the time. So, but mental health is really big, and I know, like I said, I know you doing some things with mental health, and like I said, I just know mental. And you girl, I want to tell you, I want to say this too real quick. Ryan Haley, she said yes, sir, and she said, "Come on, sis." So I just want to let you know she said the comment. So it's all good.
Shout out. Another piece of the mental health is normalizing everybody's struggles. Like I'm a therapist, but I go to therapy and I have an Enneagram coach that I go to every single week. You know, he's now in therapy. We go to therapy for my son. Like I help families and kids stay together, and my son mushes people in the back of the head. Like, you know, nobody's perfect, you know, and even with us, like we're in the space you're talking about, you're going to marriage counseling. We over here shifting in our marriage because we totally different people. So it don't mean that we don't want to make it last forever. It doesn't, like we've had to have some tough conversations recently. Like, dude, like we got to get it together. And if we don't get it together, it ain't going to work. Like I'm telling we got to normalize the struggle. That's what when it comes to mental health, it goes beyond just a cliche. Let's talk about mental health. Like I'm not just here as a therapist. I'm here as a whole person that's telling you that on a daily basis, I got to decide to love myself. Like I'm a whole therapist, but I was diagnosed with major depression and anxiety, but I'm pretty sure it's PTSD. Like I got to every day make a conscious decision. Like, sis, you gonna live. Like I got moments where my kids push me to be like, yo, I don't want to do this no more. Like I thought motherhood was going to be loving. Motherhood is more like, you know, like I literally have to make the decision. So if someone is struggling, I want to tell you, you're not by yourself. Like I do this work and I still struggle. I do this work in my marriage right now. We got to rebuild. Like I do these things and I got to take my kid to go to therapy. So it goes deeper than you got a problem or is something wrong with you. No, if you tell me that mentally all the time you okay, then you are a liar. And that's where it comes down into. So when we're talking about mental health, it's taking away the stigma, it's taking away the term of being crazy, and it's not looking at what the world or media has painted what mental health looks like. Again, if you can think, that's a mental health. If you can literally go through life and make decisions and make choices, that's a part of your mental health. And when we begin to share our stories and begin to say, hey, I'm struggling too, then that also helps. Like I saw a post on Facebook. They said, you have no idea. Your therapist is also probably going through a divorce. Your coach is also in a strategy session. Like the people that you're going to, us too, got to put in the work so that we can make sure that we're mentally sound, because we can't pour from an empty cup. And if you're my colleague and you're a therapist or function in a coaching capacity and you're not doing your work, you better sit it down, because you're going to end up bleeding on other people if you don't take care of yourself. So mental health is one of those things that I'm huge on, because if we don't address it, then we're going to continue to have more hurting people. We're going to continue to turn on the news and seeing people killing each other. We're going to continue to have parents going to high schools and middle schools now and shooting up kids. Like we got to deal with it. And if we don't deal with it, we're going to have more deaths, more suicidal ideations, more presidents that should not be in the White House, more like it's going to be a downward spiral if we stop making it a separate entity from being human. Mental health is what makes you human.
That's good. Very good point. Very good point. That is and that's why I got you on this platform, because see, for y'all to tell y'all story in your voice on this platform so people can hear it and understand that, hey, there's somebody out there right now going through something. They're like, oh, hold on. They're going through the same thing I'm going through. Yeah, we all human. Because like I tell about, it's not about the race. It's about the human race. Because we all human beings at the end of the day. That's why I tell people all the time, we all are human beings. We all going through something. And if you ain't, I don't know you must be God. That's all I can say to you. So, because everybody's going through something in 2021. I don't care who you are. So let me move on to this next one, which I kind of like to more than anything too. I'm gonna go to this one here. See if I can put it in here. Well, hold on. It's accountability. It's deep. Yeah, I'm touching home with some stuff tonight. I know I'm touching home with some. And one reason why I put this one here, let me just tell you, hopefully it runs down. Okay, so it's because I was just, let me say this guy, I was just talking to a real good comedian friend of mine probably about a week ago about this. And he's married too. I've probably been married a little longer than him, a little bit older than him. And he said, love, I just had a conversation with my wife. I said, man, well, I said, well, welcome to the club. I said, me too. I said, and we discussed it, and I said, it's not only for marriage though, Kenny. That's what I said. I said, his name it ain't only for marriage. I said, it's just accountability for everything. I said, that's what's the matter with America in general. Accountability. Nobody holds nobody accountable no more. Whether it's friendship, mothership, fathership. I'm done. You keep going to cousinship. Don't nobody holds nobody accountable. So that's why I put that accountability on it, because I wanted y'all to elaborate a little bit more, and I got some more to talk about on that one. So go ahead.
Goodness, I'm gonna go ahead and start this one out. A big value of mine is integrity and transparency.
Okay.
And up until about 3 weeks ago, my husband was my refuge. Okay. Mind you, when we last did this show, we were still in the middle of struggle.
Okay.
So we both was trying to figure out life, and the struggle bus was real, but we were doing it together. So it made it doable.
Okay.
However, September comes, I'm in my dream job. He's in his dream job. And now there's no together struggle.
Oh, great.
So now we're doing things separately. And where I get the space to finally see that Malira actually got other people that ain't just her husband looking at her. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So now Malira's in a space where she's a kid in the candy shop that's kind of like, man, there's people looking at me, or there's people that's attracting my energy. So as a wife, someone who for 8 years have only had her husband as the apple of her eye. And those who know me, I've been told I'm the friend you got to tell is on speakerphone because I say anything out of my mouth. It's the same thing with my spouse, because once I realized that, and because I hold myself accountable, and hopefully this really helps somebody for real. Like, it's our business, so I don't give two rats butts. Y'all can share it. But I literally had to tell my husband, like, babe, I'm realizing something's different, because where you were my refuge, someone else is becoming my refuge.
Right.
Or maybe I got a sign on my forehead that's saying that we trying to figure this thing out, because now I'm attracting energy that I don't want to attract. So now I got to hold myself accountable, because I said we're going to do forever. But babe, I'm seeing that there was something different. I'm seeing that I'm seeking refuge, and I'm having conversations with people, and it's not you. So today we had to have a conversation, and it's like, okay, well, where are we going to go? Where did the disconnect happen? Because for one, we've been married almost 8 years. I'm only 28. He's 31. So we were babies, and we're not the same people that we were before. So now we're in this space where it's like, yo, like, we are completely different. Like, I'm a whole powerhouse. You changing kids' lives. We are not in the struggle anymore. So now that we've made it and we built our life, what are we going to do with it? What is going to be the thing that's going to connect us? And yes, there are some distractions. And yes, I got to hold myself accountable and say, as a wife, there are some people that should not be talking to me. Like, I have to be able to vocalize that and put up boundaries. But the accountability comes to the fact of choices. Whether you're married, whether this resonates with somebody or whatever, I'm telling you, it's all about choices. You got to know that when I make this choice, what am I willing to sacrifice? Am I going to sit here and sacrifice almost 8 years of marriage, 2 kids over something that's catching my eye, that if I eat it is spoiled? Or am I going to stay in this space where I'm realizing that there's a change, and I got to hold myself accountable as a queen that sat in front of God 8 years ago to say, I'm going to be with this man forever, and say, look, babe, this is the situation. I got to have some tough conversations with you. I probably shouldn't have sent that text message. I probably shouldn't have entertained that conversation, but it happened. And what we're going to do, because what's not going to happen is I'm not going to let it go nowhere else, because imagine if I dealt with it in the dark. I caught it as soon as it happened. Now, if I didn't catch it, I could have been doing some things I shouldn't have been doing. And that's where that accountability is now at. And now he has to hold me accountable, and I got to hold him accountable, because when we first got married, there was some things that we didn't know either. So for us, that's my biggest thing. Like, you got to choose what's most important. You got to choose what's worth losing. Anytime you choose whether it's a good or a bad choice, something is going to be deficient. So whether I choose to make this decision, I'm still going to sacrifice something else. And I got to be the one to decide what I'm worth sacrificing. And something that Malira is going to say in front of everybody, I'm not losing this thing here. I'm
I
not
heard
losing
that.
my family. I
That's
am not,
great.
like,
I
I
feel
know
it.
where
I
we
feel
got
you.
to, but we're gonna restart because at the end of the day, that's what we have chose to do and hold
Yeah.
each other accountable in it.
Yeah, before the King here say something, we got a couple comments. I just want to run by you real quick for the King story. Rand, y'all know Rand Peterson? I don't know him, but then I'm thinking y'all might know Rand Peterson. Y'all know Rand
I'm
Peterson?
horrible with
He
names,
said the
so I'm
Greens are good
sorry if
looking.
you
He
know
said,
me. I'm
okay, the
sorry.
Greens are a good looking couple. Every couple. He says, well, I don't know. He says there has even been a research result that mobile phones and iPhones has made relationships worse because you won't get the time to miss your partner. You need to have time to miss each other. So you can go ahead on King now. I just wanted y'all to hear what some of his comments. So
Peace. So y'all, no, like y'all, it's good because it's necessary, and I can rest assure you, we are not the only ones feeling what we feel, experiencing what we experience. When it comes to that accountability piece, they call me Coach G, at my school.
Okay.
Coach G has had the hardest time. And again, it goes back to family. It goes back to mental health.
Right.
I asked my father today, I say, Pop, were you someone that was very secretive? And he said, yeah. And part of me is like, that's where I get it from.
There it is. It is.
And like you say, it took 31 years. Now, I'm blessed that it took 31 years because some people that's 60 and never got the chance to
never said nothing to them. Right. Thank you.
But it's like that accountability piece, I've had such a hard time, like, and again, asking for help. Like I'll have friends that'll reach out to me and then I'll ghost them for like 2 weeks.
Okay.
So like that accountability piece for me is personal accountability to be accountable to the people that are trying to be accountable to me, if that makes it, that want to be my accountability partner.
Right.
I have a brother and we talk all the time, and his biggest thing is make sure you call because I want you to be, I know we deal with some of the same things. Right. And the reality is I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't. That's one of the things, again, it's like I'm finding myself and I got to work on some of the things that I've found myself delinquent in or stagnant in. It is speaking of that communication, the accountability.
Right.
Because now check this out.
Okay.
Gentlemen, fellas. The situation that my wife just explained, as she mentioned,
right.
I put her through something similar a few times. In times past. And unlike her, I did not voice it up front.
Right. I got you.
I did not. So you're literally seeing two stories that were similar and they're being played out in two different ways. I'll tell anybody, if you want a model to find, to go by, the one beside me is the way to look. Because I could have, I could have messed it up. When I tell you it's nothing but the Creator's grace on why we're here.
Right. Okay.
Because I told her, I said, when she's explaining, I say, Malai, I can't be hypocritical. Okay. Because I put you through the same thing. Like I know what you're feeling. Right. I've been there. I know what you're feeling. You're human. And I guess that kind of that accountability piece, like in everything that we're doing and expressing, I kept saying, I don't want to be manipulative. And I don't want to be selfish. I realize as this man, we're able to do that. We can hear a situation and find a way to switch it, put ourselves in it, and then gain some type of pity. And I kept saying a lot. I said, I want you to feel how you feel because I put you through it.
Right.
And however, I need to be to show the same grace that you showed me.
Right. I get that.
Fellas, that's where it is.
Yeah.
You got to be able to. You got to be able to. The ego, that ego thing is a trip, man, because I could have easily just been pissed off, angry, and never changed the damn thing.
Right.
Or I could have heard the warning shot and said, okay, what do I need to do? How can I get back to the drawing board? So that accountability, y'all, you got to want to be held accountable. Like you have to want it. You can't just say you got to want to be held accountable. Otherwise, you'll find ways to without being accountable.
Yep. It's just, you're right on it because it's just look at the word accountability. It means something. Just look at the word of. That's what I tell people. It's like, well, I mean, let me go and put this out there. me, I ain't gonna say me, but I had to hold somebody accountable. Let's put it like that. I had to hold somebody accountable. We discussed something, and we said we're gonna do this, and this, and we was holding each other accountable. Well, when the 3 or 4 month period was over, whatever the length was, I held my end. They didn't hold their end. Now at this point, this is what I was talking to Kenny about, my buddy at work. I said, Kenny, there's 2 things you can do in this situation. One, if you address them, the first thing they're gonna do is they're gonna get defensive probably. Or if they're not that type of person, they're gonna be like, yeah, think about self-respect, think about themselves, and hold up. Did I actually not hold up to my end? Okay, well, I'm sorry. I'm gonna do better. We can work this out. I said, only 2 things are gonna happen. They're gonna get defensive or they're gonna apologize and try to do better and will and may do better. I said, because there's no in between when it comes to when you come to somebody and say, hey, you didn't do this, and that, like you said. So one of them 2 things are gonna happen. And hopefully they don't get out defensive. And if they do, it's usually because they feel kind of some type of way, like they know they was wrong about the accountability. And it ain't nothing matter with being wrong. We human, like you said, we human. We make mistakes. Okay, if I didn't hold accountable, I'd be the first one to say, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't hold it accountable. I'd hold it to my end. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna make it happen. But that's just me because I'm the type of person I have an extra strive to do better. Everybody might not have that. And I understand that. That's why you got to understand who you're dealing with and know them too. Accountability is a beautiful thing. Also, I think love comes with accountability because you have to really love a person to understand that accountability. And if they're doing it or not, you know what I'm saying? You really, really do. You have to really love that person. So accountability is a big thing. And it's big all across the board in America. Because right now, in today's time in 2021, not just us, the whole country has problems with accountability on a lot of things, on a lot of different platforms, from the highest to the lowest. So, and you said something earlier that really touched me too, Malera, about the homeless guy being happy. You know, he's happy. And he's happy because he just has life. He has life. He has food. Yeah, he might not have no shelter every now and then, but he's got food. He's got life. Where you said people with money got all this money, and they sit down unhappy because they owe this person. They don't worry about this person going to do something to him. He's happy because he just got life, and he's enjoying his life without the worries. Yeah, he got one thing he got to worry about is maybe some shelter. That's it. But now he ain't got no worries because he's got life. And that's why I tell people, you have to understand where you're at in life. Be happy with where you're at. There's a reason why you're through your journey and chapter of life through God first. To get to that end, you're going to have to go through some things. Did nobody say life was easy? Last time I checked, life is not easy. And that's coming from my kids. You said something too, King Girl, that I had to realize too. But my son and daughter, they ain't like me. They got some of my grandmother, my mother, and my father in them. And I know that's true fact, but they not like me. They're going to be their own person. And I want them to be their own person. I want them to make their own decisions. Like I tell my son, there's nothing matter with making a bad decision. Just try not to keep making it. Okay? Because making a bad decision lets me know you're human. So, you know, you're going to make it. And whether they're young, because, you know, a lot of times they're young, we get so mad at them because they're young and make bad decisions. But I have to tell myself, hey, lovers, you made some bad decisions when you was 10, 12, 15, 14. Hey. You know what I'm saying? So you can't, you know, so I tell myself, they just trying to figure it out. So accountability is big, and people have really got to work on accountability. I really, truly believe that. Let me go to this next one here. We can go all day on that one. I'm telling you.
Yes.
Yeah, we can go all day. Let me see here. Let me get in here. Yeah, this one here is it's just basically just as far as seeing that this is my last podcast for the year 2021. I think I asked y'all this: what type of New Year's things you got going on as far as coming up with? Let me see. Hope it pop up in a second. Show it. Hold on. As far as New Year, New Year for the New Year 2022 coming up. What are y'all trying to do as a couple?
What's this?
What's
my
that?
hands at? Okay, 8. There we go. 8 years, right? We're doing an 8-year vow renewal.
Man, that's great, man. That's
there
beautiful,
we go.
Man. That's what's up. That's beautiful.
8-year vow renewal.
Wow.
And again, we kind of made the joke earlier. It's no coincidence that we're planning on renewing
that's beautiful
in April of next year based on how 2021 ended. Okay. And then just the vision, the goals individually as a group that we got. Because one thing, if you haven't noticed, me and Malaya do not like conflict. But one thing I'm learning, even though it's not conflict, there does need to be iron versus iron conversations in order to stay sharp. and then being able to have an understanding, knowing that it's sharpening that's going on and not fighting.
Right.
I think there's a huge difference.
Okay.
And I had to get to a point and realize that if I were to share my voice, things that I may agree, disagree with, it's not combat, it's simply sharpening.
Right.
So felt like it in the Hebrew, and just taking something way back, in the Hebrew, there's a term, it goes Ezer Kinegdo. Ezer Kinegdo means the woman's ability to oppose. And it's not opposition as in negative, but it's opposition as if there needs to be something here in order for it to grow.
Right.
That piece, like, okay, I see you, but I'm here and I'm going to push you to be the best version. Like, I'm not going to let you stay stagnant. The choice is yours to stay stagnant.
Right.
But the woman's here is, okay, I'm a mirror and this is where we are. Like, measure yourself, gauge yourself. Let's continue to grow together. Because otherwise, you stay stagnant.
Yes. Yep.
And as this man, I'm realizing that that's a dangerous place to be. Like, creatures of habit, that piece is very dangerous because it's easy to forget that you grow.
Yep, that's true.
And if you forget that you grow, you won't take notice to that which is growing around you. That's
true. So what about you, Malera? New Year 2022, what's going on Malera's plate? I know it's going to be something greater. Nah.
Oh my gosh. So starting out the new year, though, we're going to be with our village. The king and I have had a really hard time allowing people to be in our space, and I think that is a huge part of why we even found ourselves where we are in this season, is the fact that we haven't really had the people to support and hold us accountable so that situations like where we are right now won't arise. So we have our kids, godparents, and some adopted aunts and uncles we're going to bring the New Year's in with. And to me, I'm really celebrating that. I actually start my PhD program in January. Organizational leadership. Yeah.
Doctor.
Yes, that's what's up. Yeah.
So that's going to be a lot of it. Is really, I believe I've been able to truly become an expert in social work and mental health, but I want to learn the business aspect. So when I begin to change the business of mental health, I know the terminology and I know the verbiage. And then I can put a little bit of respect on my name, you know.
There you go. Yeah.
But that's that piece. But honestly though, like I really feel like that I'm selling myself short. And what I can bring the world. So I'm believing that by the end of 2022, whatever God really wants me to do, whether that is staying and working for someone else or being 100% in my business. Literally, y'all, like I went from making absolutely nothing in my business to just having my first $500 day, to just getting an inbox to go to an actual tech school to do grief work for a whole day. Like God, I'm telling y'all this. This is to answer the question, but what y'all see right now is the king and I is in year 7. We're entering year 8. Year 8 is the year of new beginnings. And what that is, it's going to take a level of pruning, but where y'all see, like y'all together, we only made $18,000 a year 8 years ago. Our first year together, we didn't have no pot to piss in. Our parents went and filled our groceries up and all that. Like we had absolutely nothing. We got married and moved right in with my parents in my middle school bedroom. Like that's what it was. And then now we are in 6 figures. Our kids are in my son is in private school. I got my dream job. Like I'm not sharing that to brag, but what I'm telling you is it took 7 years for us to get here. So in 2022, I want to celebrate what God has blessed me with. Like I want to be able to learn contentment while I'm still growing. I want to be able to truly wake up in the morning and say, thank you, God, for this moment, and not what can I do next. I want to learn how to truly love me. I have the I'm enough movement, but I'm learning that I never really realized that I truly am enough. I made the movement so that other people can think that I am enough. So now it's me going internal. So 2022 is Malira's year of realizing herself, realizing my gifts and allowing for God to shift. So if he pushes me to be in business full time, I'm not going to tell him no. But if he tells me, yo, I need you in the regular public sector so that you can change this thing around, I'm willing to do that too. But what I want though is for me to be able to open up to people loving me. Y'all, I am
That's
a loving
great.
being, but I'm not superwoman. And I'm learning that I've spent my entire life training you guys to think I don't need you. And I am here telling you guys in a public platform, I need y'all more than ever. I need the text message, girl. I'm thinking about you. I need the people that's gonna hold us accountable. How y'all doing? Like, we know y'all were struggling, but are y'all back on track? Like, that is what I need in 2022.
Right.
So that's a little bit of what I'm going to be doing. It's way more. But right now I'm just grateful for the opportunity to still have my marriage. Y'all,
That's
like,
right.
listen,
Yes.
like, we could have easily said, all right, we grew apart. You got some people in your inbox and I got some people that could be in my inbox. So let's inbox it out, be here for our kids, and then fall apart 20 years from now. Or we could say, yo, like, I love you to the end and let's try to figure this bad boy out. Or I could say, like, hey, I'm a therapist that's dealing with depression and never actually go and seek therapy for myself. Or I can actually go to therapy and an Enneagram coach. So I'm coming into 22 with guns a-blazing. So y'all watch out.
Yeah,
I'm about to shake some things up.
I feel everything you saying, and I feel everything that the King's saying. So I really do. And I'm just gonna tell you a real short story on my life a little bit. Being my wife since '94, we've had our problems. We human like everybody else. We've had our problems. Y'all on year 8. That was about time we started having some problems. We had to go talk to somebody, but we still together. And we got married in 2006. 15 years together. 26 years together, 15 years married. All I'm saying is this: anybody can get together on the premises of maybe loving each other, but it takes real human beings to understand each other through the bad times. Anybody can get through the good times. Can you get through the real good times and bad times together? Because see, some people pull away when it gets bad. Because I don't want that. I didn't want that. I don't want to do that. I'm just talking about in marriage. And I had to realize, you know what? I married you for everything. Till death. And the thing about it, as y'all go along, let me say this too on this platform. People gonna want a piece of you as you go up the ladder. Everybody wants a piece of you, but the only person I have to tell myself, and this is what my New Year's resolution for New Year 2022 is: the only person who's getting the real piece of me is the person back home in my house. That's the only person getting the real piece of me. You're gonna get some, but you're not gonna get all, because I have to financially if it's part of my job. But the only person getting the real piece of me is in this household. And that's why I always told myself, so here in New Year 2022, I'm going to even give more peace to home, but I'm going to still keep doing my stand-up. I'm going to keep going to work. I have to, because that's what I was put on this earth to do through God first. But I also was put on this earth, once I met my soulmate, through God, to give her everything I got first and foremost. And it's not easy. I'll tell anybody, marriage is not easy. Any two people can get together. Can any two people stay together? Real talk.
You mind if I
elaborate, please, King?
Yeah. When what you just said, and this goal, like, if I got anybody I'm connected to that's watching, gentlemen, man, women, they are thriving representations of the universe, and they require your time, they require your energy, and it's not a negative thing. Steve Harvey, I want to meet him one day. So if he just so happens to see this, Steve.
Right.
But I sometimes reflect back. I see his posts and his show. He says you cannot outgive a woman. Like, there's nothing you could get to that you're gonna outdo it. Right. So it honestly kind of always it goes back to, in the case of man and woman, like, how is the man showing up for his significant other? Similar biblically, like Christ shows up for the church, right? For the body, like that. That's the way it should flow. And one thing I'll say, as far as accountability, especially men, we got to be able to find the initiative outside of being told. I've learned that a lot of us men, only time we really do stuff is when we're told.
Yeah.
We have to, but it's like that initiative is like, it's always second. It comes when it's too late. And I just want to say, like, don't wait till it's too late to take initiative. Small things. but the small things ultimately build up, because when you think about it, it's the small things that ultimately lead to the decline of people's
That's right.
relationships. So it's like, if you can keep the small things, you'd be surprised if that'll keep you built.
Right.
Me to you, it's been rough and life has gotten the best. I do apologize. Like, real talk.
That's what's up.
Appreciate.
Oh, I see. That's what's up.
There's nothing, like, I don't want anger. I don't like being angry. That would ever cause it. And it's nothing I would not do as far as us. And I just want you to know that. And it ain't because it is, but legit.
Trust me, I love you.
That's beautiful. Ain't nothing better than when a man or woman both pour out their souls each other. That's pure as it gets. Pure as it gets. You're gonna make me go down there and kiss and hug all on my wife. so with that said, y'all, got to. I'm going to. Check this out though. With all that said, I want to end this podcast on a great note. I'm gonna say this. My January the 8th is my next podcast. I hope everybody subscribe to Big Light Skin Podcast. Subscribe. Make sure you check this podcast out. If you ain't checking it out until you check it out now, check it out again. Keep subscribing, keep sharing, and more than anything, I want to also say, I got my Big Head Light Skin Comedian Production comedy show February 19th here in Louisville, Kentucky. I'll elaborate a little bit more on that, but be looking for that. Also, too, I want to say rest in peace to Barry Bradley, a good friend of mine I grew up with. I was talking to him 3 weeks ago. Now he's went up to his maker. But with that said, I know he's at peace because we talked about some things. And I also learned from him. So I tell people, like you said, just because you have grief don't mean it's really grief. You have to understand sometimes you're supposed to rejoice in hallelujah. So it wasn't no sadness here. It was all love. But with that said, like I said, rest in peace, Barry Bradley. And I want y'all to sign off the way y'all know how to. Put your handles out there. Put everything out there you can right now before we sign off here.
Absolutely. So again, I'm Malira Green, the only one. You can find what I'm doing at MaliraTransforms.com because I am in the business of transforming everyone. Like, I service the bridge between the caterpillar and the butterfly. And it takes transition. It takes transformation. And I'm here to tell you, you ain't going to change it till you hate how it makes you feel. So if you hating how it feels, I'm the girl for it. I am big on Facebook. I'm an old lady at heart. But you can follow me on Instagram at Malira Transform. I do have my I'm Enough movement, but the Fall for Me line is definitely popping. And if you are a cheesy couple like us, you can, the guy's got a shirt and the girl got a t-shirt dress. It's pretty dope. But I do have a couple books and things like that on my Instagram. You will find my link tree, and it takes you to different podcasts and just different things that I've been on. But one thing I want to leave you guys with is I hope as you guys are watching this, especially people that know us, I don't care if you gossip because it's our story. What I would say is that I'm not doing anything in the dark. So whatever it is you want to go and tell and do, that's fine. I'm doing it in the light because I choose my marriage and I choose my family. So if you're struggling with anything in the dark, it may not be our situation, but it may be just a situation in general. I'm telling you, go ahead and find the light before life make you do it. Because life has a way of bringing it out. And if you want to do it in a way where you can actually heal and it's therapeutic, have help. And I don't mind being that help. I can serve as your coach, your therapist, and like I said, your ratchet best friend. So that's enough about me, but that's where you can find me at, y'all.
All right, what about you, WL Green King?
Peace. As you said, I'm on Facebook at WL Green III. Same with Instagram, WL Green III. However, YouTube, G Joint Productions, Facebook, Instagram, G Joint Productions. If you're into positive music, positive hip hop stuff, a positive message, inspiring. Stream the album is on YouTube. You don't have to pay for it, but just be encouraged, be enlightened. And similarly, just know what's important, gentlemen. You got to know what's important because that which is important, you have no problem working towards.
Right.
And what I mean by that, you're only offended if you don't want to do it.
Right.
Like if there's something in you that does not want to be there, you'll get offended at hey, I need this. Like, be okay because again, as she changes, you change. As you change, she change. Like it's okay to change.
Yes.
Don't get stagnant. Don't be like water and have the algae and stuff growing.
Right.
Kind of nasty.
Yeah, but you know what, y'all, it's funny. But you know what, I'm gonna say this to y'all because I feel like we just family, and I'm gonna say this to y'all because I feel like both of you, I know both of y'all love each other, and I love y'all. Let me just say this: I think both of you all together should have a podcast because both of you voices for married people out here who are struggling with mental health, being together, whatever the case may be, they need to hear your voices and story every now and then. Think about that because I think y'all got something there. Y'all two together on the podcast. It's just me. I got a friend of mine who does a podcast called Marriage Podcast. Him and his wife do it. He loves it. Now, don't get me wrong. There's times when they argue on there, but they love each other. But they love each other. That's what marriage is about. You know, you argue to love each other and to make up. You know what I'm saying? So, but I just got to say that y'all because both of your voices are renaissance on this platform, and I think it could renaissance on a lot of other platforms because both of y'all together can be unstoppable talking to the people. Now, with that said, yes, with that said, being the end of the year, I want to say happy holidays to the Greens. And I mean
happy holidays.
Happy holiday, happy New Year, have a Merry
Hanukkah.
Christmas, you and your kids. And I hope everything's beautiful for you. I hope 2022 is even better than 2021. Keep loving your kids and loving life and just keep smiling and enjoying each other. As long as you enjoy each other, you have each other. That's what it all boils down to. So just keep doing that more than anything. With that said, I appreciate everybody tuning into the Big Election Comedian Podcast. Check me out January the 8th. I have somebody on second Saturday. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see this again and again and again and share it with somebody who needs help in marriage and mental health or whatever it may be, because that's what it's about. It's about telling people your stories and getting out there. So, but I just want to say all that good stuff, and it's been real, and I really enjoyed having y'all. I always enjoy having y'all, and we'll definitely maybe do it again next year because I love to have you in New Year 2022. So with that said,
and we love you too.
Bro, we love you,
much
man.
love. And also too,
you.
one more thing. If I get these Big Head Light Skin Comedian podcast shirts, I will be sending y'all some, maybe some for the kids. So that's what my new thing is for 2022. I got
we'll do a whole photo shoot. We got you.
Yeah, okay, for sure. So okay. So but for real, I want y'all to enjoy your night, enjoy 2022, stay together, be together, and keep people out of your circle. Keep your circle tight and love each other. Nothing better than that. Much love to y'all. Y'all keep being who you are, and I ain't got nothing but love for you all. I'm the Big Head Light Skin comedian. This is the Greens. It's been real. Thank y'all for watching and tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Like I said, subscribe, watch, and share. Love y'all. And make sure y'all support the Greens too, what they doing. Much love, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.